Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's look at some stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepker alongside Tom McKenzie, and we're joined by Bloomberg's equities reporter Sam Unstead. Good morning. It's a really big day for the defence industry. We got over the weekend, and today we get the big strategic defence review from the government. So how they're going to address the kind of hollowing out of the defence industry in the UK. How are arms stocks reacting in Britain?
Well, so there are two stories actually to think about with defence today. So we've had strikes from Ukraine, strikes from Russia. There are peace talks this week. Not a great lead into peace talks over the course of the week. So actually defence stocks are kind of up across all of Europe. For the UK specifically, extra spending, particularly on submarines. That's the one to note today because the big mover today is Babcock. And Babcock, who are a defence and engineering outsourcing company, look after the submarine fleet for the UK. So there's a very direct benefit to them. But across the board, it's both the UK and the sort of broader geopolitical tensions lifting defence stocks all over Europe.
Yeah, the top gainers so far on the Stoxx 600 are those German names and, as you say, UK names as well in terms of Hensoldt, Renk and Saab over in Sweden as well on those stories. Meanwhile, we do have the geopolitics in terms of the trade tensions is back in focus. We're talking about the fact that the US kind of came out and blamed China for walking back on that deal they came to in Geneva. Then China came out today and said actually it's the US who's been walking back. It's not a great backdrop. President Trump still seems to think that he can get President Xi Jinping on the phone. It hasn't happened yet. This is definitely having a dampening effect on the equity markets.
Yeah, definitely. And this is something that's sort of happening most days at the moment. A kind of pull back in one direction, pull back the other way. I think what you're kind of seeing is negotiations that maybe in the past would have taken place behind closed doors are kind of all happening in the open. And you're seeing these kind of go back and forth quite significantly. We're just mentioning in Germany, defence stocks doing very well. At the other end of it, autos not doing so well. They tend to get hit very hard by any trade tensions. And specifically when it comes to US-China trade tensions, if we look over to France as well and the CAC big drag there from luxury goods stocks too, who also tend to get hit a little bit when there is tension between the US and China.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, in terms of the kind of politics driving the market story, it's the fact that the nationalist candidate has won Poland's presidency this morning, and actually quite a negative impact on some individual Polish stocks, especially the Polish banks today. Yeah,
well, Polish banks, I mean, really across the board, for Polish stocks, Polish bonds as well. Mm-hmm. Polish stocks had been doing very well this year. They were one of the best performing indexes globally up until the last couple of weeks. Most of that has been driven by them getting closer and closer to better EU integration or having a stronger role within the EU. With that comes funding from the bloc as well. That now is put at risk by this. So this candidate winning is a very, very close election. That creates extra uncertainty about what may come beyond this. So if indeed Donald Tusk has to call a vote of confidence in the government, the uncertainty is enormous because this was so close and so really on a knife edge. So all of a sudden assets that had been benefiting enormously from a very clear story of closer EU integration and just generally positive funding for the country and the economy, that's been upended, and you are seeing that come through particularly with Polish banks, which of course are very closely related to the economy there.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.